I'm just going to read this at the start of this part of the video. So it's domestic abuse takes many forms, and that, as much as it has been women who stand the greatest jeopardy of being its victims, a woman may also be the instigator or aggressor. For a woman, there may be no deadlier or more effective way of committing violence against a man than to call him out as an abuser. As difficult as it is for a woman to admit having experienced abuse, for a man it may be even harder. Now, the Me Too campaign has created a climate of greater awareness of abuse and violence. It has also opened the doors for those who would cynically exploit the movement for their own purposes. So that's for money, attention, and in my case, revenge. I'm being targeted for revenge. And any individual who does that does so undermines and trivializes the experiences of true survivors of abuse. And that is true. That is true. These accusations against me are for revenge only. They're false. And it does they are trivializing. They're using the state against an innocent man, against me. And obviously, I mentioned my failure to find medical help in during 2021. And I had to wait for 30. So from that interview with the police in December 2020, I had to go through the PTSD, all the mental health crisis I went through, deal with my wife and her mental health crises. Heard nothing from anyone. I did speak to one police officer in April 2021 about the abuse that I'd received as a child. And my son spoke to the police about the abuse that he'd received at the hands of my younger sister. But it appears that nothing was done. In good faith, we reported that to that police officer. But it just appears that it was the wrong officer we spoke to. I don't know that side of it. So fast forward to the last week of August 2023, and again I'm sat in this chair. There's a knock on the door. This time it's a little later in the day. It's somewhere between 5 and 7 o'clock in the day. I goes to the door. There's two gentlemen stood at the door. One introduced himself as a police officer and hands me a document. And this document is saying that I'm going to be charged for 6 serious historical sexual acts. Yes, you can imagine. I just spent 33 months waiting, knowing that everything that's said is a lie, assuming, based on the evidence that I've already provided and the testimony I already gave in my voluntary interview, which was recorded audibly and was typed out. There was an officer in front of me. There's my solicitor to my right. Officer in front of me was asking me questions, and another officer to my left. And I was interacting with both of them. One was asking me most of the questions. The other one was typing it all out while the audio device was recording it. I assume, because obviously there can be no evidence, that it would be no further action being taken. And instead, what's happening is they're charging me, and I have to go to court on the 4th of September, which is Friday, the 1st of September today. So in 3 days' time, I have to go to court to stand and face people who are going to be looking down on me, thinking that I've done something grotesque when I haven't. And my biggest fear is, how can I defend myself against something that I've got a time machine? I can't take people back in time to show where did they happen? They never did. Yet, from far as I know, I mean, I'm not an expert in the law in any shape or form. She could have my stepfather, the guy who abused me throughout all my childhood, give evidence against me, which will be purely false. So a guy who abused me all my life could yet again abuse me, but this time with the power of the court behind him. And what can I do? I can do nothing but follow procedure. Because in the eyes of the law, I'm a suspect. I'm going to be charged with something I haven't done. How can I disprove it? I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. I can't travel back in time. I don't have a crystal ball. People who don't know me, people who don't know the history of how I've had to deal with this family, if this goes to like a Crown Court hearing, a jury are going to decide my fate. Based on what? Based on lies. Utter lies. How can I defend myself? The abuse continues. I just don't know when it's going to end. Do they want me dead? They hate me that much because I'm not fully their blood. It's all a disgrace.